Hey guys, how's it going and welcome to the Mina channel. Today we're going to be talking about my impressions of Persona 5 Scramble game after 40 hours. Now this isn't a full review, I will be doing a formal review when the game comes out and everything. I do want to play it again in English, but today I just want to talk about my impressions of the game, what I feel about it, how I feel about the mechanics and the gameplay and everything like that, as well as some of the story details. Don't worry, I'm not going to be talking about spoilers or anything like that. Really, this video is just about kind of giving you a guide whether this is a game for you or whether you're interested in this game and even just some impressions and thought about it. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So Persona 5 Scramble comes out in about a month now, or maybe less than a month, maybe about a couple of weeks at this point. And through my experience of the whole fiasco when this game was announced and everything like that, I was just really eager to find out more about it. But before this even happened, whenever we've heard about this game, Persona 5 Strikers was announced as this warrior style game. Now to me that sounded really bad. I'll be honest with you guys, 100% transparency. I hate Warriors games. I'm not interested in them. I don't like the gameplay of it. I just don't find them interesting. I just don't like them at all. So when they announced the Persona 5 Strikers game or the Warriors game, I was really worried. I was worried that I wasn't gonna like this game. I was worried that this game was gonna suck, and I was worried that this was gonna be one of those repetitive, annoying games that you do things and the gameplay is not good or anything like that. Now that's my opinion on them, but honestly, my flip just completely, my switch completely flipped at this point because after as soon as I saw that, I was like, man, this is just not gonna be a game for me at all. So I waited for the demo to show up at the Japanese store. I played the demo, and as soon as I played the demo, I fell in love with the game. I fell in love with the mechanics, I fell in love with the story, I fell in love with everything like that. So as soon as they released the Japanese game, I immediately bought it. I played it online on the digital download, and as soon as I was able to buy a collector's edition of that in Chinese, I bought it as well. So this is actually my third time buying this game, so that should tell you something about it, right? So Persona 5 Strikers comes out again as a Warriors game. However, we're talking about the gameplay first before we even talk about the story or anything. The gameplay is really interesting, and you've seen these headlines already. Persona 5 Strikers feels like Persona, and what does that even mean? Why? So what it means is really that, you know, because a lot of people were worried or were interested in what transition from a Persona 5 game, which is a turn-based RPG. How is that going to translate into something like a warrior style game? How does that gonna feel like? How is that fighting gonna work, the gameplay mechanics and everything like that? And I am really happy to report, as well as all the other people that talked about this already, the gameplay is fantastic. It actually retains a lot of what makes Persona 5 special into this game. Things like summoning your personas and capturing personas, fusing the personas, things like that are immediately right off the bat in here. In fact, a lot of the aspects are the same. One of the things that I love about the gameplay is you can kind of, whenever you're fighting, you can kind of slow down time, and you can select your different persona. You do these massive attacks and everything like that. Personas function really well in battle when you're fighting and everything. You immediately summon. It feels like really second nature. Whenever you're playing, it feels so natural. It feels like the gameplay flows so well. That's one thing that I was really worried about, and I was just shocked to see how well they were able to retain the mechanics of the different personas. Now, one thing I want to say is the fusion system is really lackluster. It's not really good like in the other games. It's really spin-off in this sense. It's not really good. However, everything else is really interesting. I love it. I give me the impression there's probably gonna be some Persona DLC. To be honest with you, I don't know why. It just gives me that impression. It's never happened in Japan, but it feels like that is in here. But overall, the gameplay is just really good. It feels Again, natural, the progression is interesting. I will say it's on the easier side. This is a much easier game than the other Persona games, and not because of the dynamic, because Persona 5 Royal was a really easy game, but the hack and slash is really easy, and again, it just feels really good. I love the boss battles. They're awesome, fighting crowds of enemies, but also when you go and just get nitty and gritty with the different boss battles and everything like that, it's fantastic. It's one of the best experiences out there. Overall, I really love how they were able to do the gameplay. It's just I don't even know how to explain any more than that. It's just so good. When you are not fighting enemies, you are actually traveling around Japan in these different beautiful locations like Okinawa and Tokyo, and all of them just look beautiful. Each one of the locations, if you've ever been in Japan, are really well done and really feel like the area that you're visiting. Not only that, but you can also go interact around the city. You're basically a tourist in Japan. That's what you're doing. You're traveling, walking around Japan, meeting these new people, getting these new stories, getting these new things together, and everything like that. And it's fantastic. I really love that aspect of it. And you can go around to find ingredients, and when you go to your trailer, when you leave, you can cook some meals and you have some time with your friends. There's a lot of different interactions and that kind of stuff still in here. Social links are not an aspect of this game. They don't really show up in that aspect, so don't expect that to happen in here. There are a lot of side quests and there's a lot of things. You have an app in your phone where you can collect new side quests and everything. And the side quests can really vary. Things from you can do things like fighting bosses again, to fighting other enemies in previous locations, collecting items in different jails that you visit and everything like that. And every different location is different. Now, I mentioned jails. Jails is the term that they use for these particular dungeons. The dungeons are, I'll say, well, I don't really want to spoil it because it is kind of a twist and spoil and everything. But every city that you visit has a jail, has a different dungeon, and there's a little bit more extra. That's what I want to say. I'm not going to tell you how many there are or locations or anything like that. I just kind of, if you're going blind, I just want to tell you each location that you visit does have a dungeon, and that's the purpose of you going to that particular place. More than that will be a spoiler, so I'm not going to go into it. The jails are really interesting. There's a lot of mechanics and interesting stuff about them. There is a lot of platforming involved and getting to the places. Just a lot of jumping around. It goes from 2D to 3D. It goes to different areas. You need different tools, the grappling hook, all these different aspects and everything. Traversing through the city is really fun itself. It's really one of the, I would say it's the second part of the gameplay, really. Going from the area to area, you have to unlock these keys, you have to do this stuff. It feels really Persona. It really does. I know people say it in different ways, but they were able to translate the Persona 5 Rojo or the Persona 5 gameplay into the Warriors gameplay with a little extra platforming and everything like that. This game is excellent in that aspect. There's a lot of different stuff. I just love how much effort and work you can tell that they put into this game. This is not one of those half-assed side games or anything, a spin-off or anything like that. This really feels like they put a lot of effort and work into it. A lot of it is just fantastic. Talking about the story and everything like that, no much of a spoiler here or anything like that, just what you know from the trailers and everything. Joker is coming back home after leaving from his house in Tokyo. He goes home and then he comes back to Tokyo to visit them again for the summer. You know, he's just hanging out with them. When he visits them, strange things start occurring, not only around Tokyo but around the rest of Japan. Now, at the end of the events of Persona 5 Rojo, again, no spoilers or anything, but the police and the government are interested in Joker and they are keeping an eye on him because they think he's dangerous and therefore they need to keep an eye on what he's doing. So when weird things are starting to come up again, the first suspect is obviously Joker and their friends. So the police shows up and they're like, hey, we are keeping an eye on you guys. Something weird is going on. So one, either you are doing it and you're going back to jail, or two, you have to solve the mystery and find out who's behind all these new weird events and everything like that. So now Joker and his friends go around Japan trying to figure it out and catching who the bad guy is and everything. This is really interesting storyline and I really love the way they did it. There's obviously twist and that kind of stuff like every game on the Persona series, but again, it feels like a really Persona storyline. And at first I was like, man, this is really far-fetched. This doesn't really like add up really well and everything, but over time it grew on me. It's not the best storyline for a Persona game ever. I'm not gonna say it's the more original or anything like that, but it's certainly very interesting and really fun. I really love all the different meetings that you do, because every time that you go to a different town, you meet new people and their story continues and everything like that. I love the character interactions with the different characters here. It just feels like seeing friends again, and this is where this game kind of earns shiny gold stars for me, because it really feels like a sequel to the original game. It feels like a good extension to the game. It feels like they're really trying to do something good and genuine and kind of like a good sequel to the game. This is really this is a great sequel to Persona 5 Royal. Anyway, that is pretty much in that. I don't really have a lot more to say because I don't really want to spoil too much or give my full review here. One thing that I want to say though is the performance on this game is great on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, which is where I played it. However, when you play it on 4K on the PS5, there is some stretchiness to the characters that doesn't have happened in the original PlayStation 4, obviously because of the 1080p and everything. This must be something to do with the characters being this cel shaded thing, and the engine that it was made on. This was not made on the same engine as the Persona 5 games. It was made on the Warriors engine. So obviously there are going to be some differences here. So that's kind of my experience on this. I still love the game and everything. The game never dropped frames for me on the PlayStation 5. And the PlayStation 4 played pretty good as well. Anyway, that's pretty much in here. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them. I will be doing a video where I'm answering questions about this game. So feel free to drop any questions or any suggestions or anything that I have a ton of video plans. I have a lot of things to talk about. But thank you so much for watching. If you're new, please consider liking and subscribing. I'll see you guys next time.